Welcome back. Just 24 hours ago, we first reported the Kennedy Center Board of Trustees voted to rename the Performing Arts Center the Trump Kennedy Center. And already there's new signage going up amid questions about the legality of this controversial move. Joining us now is Schiff Berman, professor at the George Washington University Law School, who specializes in constitutional law. Paul, thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Happy to be here, although this isn't a constitutional issue, but I'm happy to talk anyway.
All right. Well, going off of that, in your legal opinion, can the name of the Kennedy Center be changed with a simple vote of the board?
No, it clearly can't. This is a congressional statute that created the Kennedy Center, and the statute specifically says that the name of the Kennedy Center shall be the name that it's been right along. And although there is a Board of Governors that is created also by statute, the Board of Governors is not given the authority to simply change the name.
Okay, so from here, the new name is put on the building. What's really to expect next? Could we expect lawsuits going off of that?
Well, that's really the big question, because the real issue is who has standing to sue. So it's clearly illegal under the statute simply to change the name, the same way it was illegal to change the name of the Institute of Peace, which the Trump administration has already done. But the question is who gets to sue based on that, who has standing. It's possible that members of Congress could sue, although congressional member standing is a little bit complicated in the law. Maybe members of the Kennedy family could say that they have standing to sue, though that's a little tangential to show how they specifically are harmed. So it's a little complicated to figure out who sues. It's easy to tell that it's illegal, but harder to tell what happens next.
Yeah, and going off of that, if nobody sues, is it status quo? Is this just the new name if no one challenges it?
Well, I guess it would be the new name as long as Trump is in office, or at least, an unofficial name in the same way they're now calling it the Department of War rather than the Department of Defense or the Trump Institute of Peace. They can call it whatever they want, or the Gulf of Mexico for that matter, being Gulf of America. The question will be, will it have lasting impact beyond the time that Trump is in office? And I suspect not.
And with all of this really happening so quickly, what's to say he couldn't try putting his name on the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, any other landmarks?
Yeah, when you have someone who's willing to use the levers of power in a way that is autocratic and doesn't really pay much attention to law, there's really no stopping point. And that's precisely the sort of thing that people are worried about, not just with regard to these names, which are relatively minor points, but because of what they symbolize about the willingness to use autocratic power in many ways throughout the administration.
So how should we be reading into this, if we should be reading into this at all, as it relates to the rule of law in our country?
Well, I think it is a symbolic issue, but it symbolizes a broader question about what it means to have an authoritarian in office who is willing to use the awesome power of the federal government to prosecute his enemies, to interfere with antitrust investigations, to make his favored corporations win, to take stock in corporations, to go after journalists, to go after law firms, to go after universities. This is all of a piece, and many of these are obviously much more dangerous and much more serious than the naming of the Kennedy Center. But it's all about using federal power to the maximum extent possible, regardless of whether it's lawful. And I think that's what the American people really need to be worried about.
So really, whatever happens from here is a kind of anyone's guess at this point.
Yeah, again, I think it's clearly unlawful. The question is, will someone challenge it? Will a court say that they have standing to challenge it? Will a court enforce the statute? Will the Trump administration listen to a court when the court says to do something? That's also increasingly, sadly, a question these days where courts are issuing orders and it's not clear that the Trump administration is following all those orders. These are all parts of the breakdown of the rule of law.
Paul, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us. We appreciate you coming on.
Always happy to be here.
Thank you. Coming up.